this is more than likely going to be Tom Brady's final season. So in today's video, we're gonna reflect that. And super quick before I tell you exactly what I mean by that, the support on my last few videos has been absolutely insane. We easily hit both goals in my last video of 350 subscribers and 40 likes. So for this one, let's aim a little higher. Let's see if we can hit 45 likes on this video and 400 subscribers. And if we can hit those, I will up it even more in the next one, because I know you guys are insane and I know we can hit that. And huge shout out to Danny Doughton for the suggestion of this video. I already dropped them a sub, you should do the same. Their link is in the description. And if you want a shout out just like that one, comment down below what team I should rebuild next or what type of rebuild I should do next, because I base all my videos off of your guys' suggestions. So if you want to be an OG of this channel, of course be sure to drop a sub and turn on notifications for my channel, because that helps me out a ton. But that is enough plugging. Again, 45 likes, 400 subs, and we are getting closer to 500 subs. So big thank you for that. But let's get into today's video, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Hello everyone, it is Brandon the Simp here, and today we are rebuilding the Tampa Bay Buccaneers without Tom Brady, partially. Now, like I said in the intro, this is likely his last year in the league. I know people have been saying that for what feels like 10 years now, but I definitely feel like this has to be it. I mean, he retired earlier in this offseason, and then, as you know, unretired. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna keep this like real life. We're gonna run with him this first year, and then we're gonna force him to retire after this year. I'm gonna change him to like safety or something, cut him, and just he's not going to get signed by anyone and he won't play, obviously, because he normally doesn't retire in this game, so we're going to force it. And it's going to be fun, super fun to figure out what to do with this team, because obviously we're going to have to replace Tom Brady. Can it be Kyle Trask? Can it be no, definitely not Blaine Gabbert. Or can it be some other signed quarterback or even a rookie? We'll have to see. The problem, however, is this is a pretty old team. I mean, they just signed Julio Jones, obviously, which was a pretty big move. I believe he's 33 in real life. That 83 is disgusting. I should change his number. I am sorry you had to see that. Mike Evans, I believe, is getting up there in age. 28 here. He's been around forever. I think he was like a 21-year-old rookie. The tight ends are old. Ryan Jensen, Donovan Smith are older. Shaq Barrett isn't going to be around forever. Levante David is old. Akeem Hicks, William Golston, Logan Ryan, they're all older players. So this isn't going to be some cakewalk here. This ain't going to be a Mickey Mouse rebuild. That's all I'm saying. So this is probably the rebuild I am most excited for out of any I have ever done. I know I kind of say that for everyone, but the suggestions just keep getting better and better, so thank you guys for them. Again, if there is a rebuild you want to see, just let me know, and I will more than likely do it. Something you may have noticed is this is not going to be a realistic rebuild, though. I'm not going to go crazy or anything and trade like for superstar players or anything, but I am planning on trading quite a few players away that are older or just depth for either picks or maybe other players we can use or something like that. So without further ado, let's get to the mid-season of year number 1, unless I make any trades. The Titans are adding another white Buccaneers wide receiver, because we are trading Scotty Miller to Tennessee for a 3rd this year and a 6th next year. I guess Scotty Miller's quite a bit different than Adam Humphries, because Scotty Miller's more of a deep threat. Adam Humphries was a white typical slot receiver, but you know, similar situation, I guess. And here we're going to be trading Keanu Neal to the Giants for a 4th and a 6th this year. Okay, so I was low-key a little worried we weren't gonna perform up to where we should, but I was definitely wrong. We are 5-2, coming off of a huge victory against the Bears, beating them 30-7. We actually do have a few upgrades here. Let me see who this is. Ooh, Luke Godecki and Vita Vea, so that's pretty cool. But here's a look at the team so far. I did give Jalen Darden and Tyler Johnson a star dev because I do think they are two good receivers that, if given the opportunity, would play well. And I did start start Cade Otton, who I also gave a dev trait. And I don't think I really did anything. Oh, I signed Tano Passignon on the D-line, but that's really the only thing I did for our defense. So yeah, this team is playing pretty well. We have some re-signings here though. So Tom Brady I'm not going to re-sign because we're going to force him to retire. Chris Godwin got a contract. What was his contract? Okay, 3 years, $60 million. That's exactly what I expected. That's kind of an underpay. I think he's a better player than that, but I will have to do that in a second. And Ryan Jensen signed a 3-year, $39 million contract, so I'll need to do that too. And Carlton Davis got a new contract. So basically all these players got re-signed, so I'll have to do that. I wish there was a way to edit contracts from the actual roster screen instead of having to do it in franchise, but it's EA, so you can't expect, you know, user friendliness. That took absolutely forever, but I did fix all the contracts and everything, so these are the actual free agents they should have, at least most of them. And who am I gonna re-sign here? I think Levante David, 2-year, $30 million is fair, and he does accept that. Very cool. Jamel Dean, let's actually re-sign for 6 years. He's a younger corner, obviously very valuable position, and he's young and he's good. Logan Ryan will hold off on. They're only paying him like $1 million, which is really interesting, but here he's asking for 3 years, 25. I think I'm good on that. Sean Murphy Bunting, 5 years, 27. That sounds decent to me. Let's re-sign him for 6 years, and he accepts that. Mike Edwards will hold off on. Anthony Nelson, I don't think I'm gonna do that for 4 years, $30 million at only 73 overall. I think I'll pass. So those are the re-signings for now. Unfortunately, like I said, this game sucks, so you can't negotiate contracts how teams would in real life. Like, you can't spread money out and put more in certain years. So if you look up towards the top, we have negative 23.4 million in cap space. In real life, that obviously wouldn't happen because, you know, teams push money in contracts back into certain years, then restructure in those years and cheese it. But obviously you can't do that here, which is kind of dumb. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players making over 10 million this year, 4 of them closer to 20 million. Fortunately for us, it doesn't matter though, so I'm fine with that. This might be the lowest 1 seed I have ever seen. I thought we missed the playoffs for a second, but then I was like, wait, no, we won the division. We definitely made the playoffs. We got a first round bye at only 11-6. What happened to the NFC? I mean, honestly, the NFC's kind of weak this year. I could see it. Oh, God. Oh. These playoff teams are disgusting. So the 1 seed for the AFC is the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have teams in here that I don't think are going to make the playoffs, like the Titans. Well, no, I guess I think they'll make the playoffs, but their team isn't all that good. We have the Lions. We have the Cardinals, who are pretty overrated in my opinion. We have the Commanders, the Panthers. Most of the time, the teams in the playoffs are pretty accurate, but I don't know about these. No Ravens, no Chiefs. At least we do have the Chargers, that's realistic. No Rams, no Saints even. Like, ugh. This is gross, dude. In terms of stats, though, Tom Brady looks like he did amazing. 5,300 yards, 42 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. Actually very, very accurate to how his last 2 years have been in Tampa Bay statistically, which is very interesting. Leonard Fournette didn't get the amount of touches that, you know, he would in a normal offense, because obviously this offense is very pass heavy. Did still almost get 1,000 yards, 4 yards per carry, which is whatever, and 16 touchdowns, which is a lot. We had 3 1,000-yard receivers, but Julio Jones was not one of them. Chris Godwin had 1,400 yards and 16 touchdowns. Mike Evans with 1,206 touchdowns. Cade Otton, the rookie tight end. I realized apparently his college was Abilene Christian. I thought I changed that when I made him, but apparently I didn't. Either way, he had 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns. Julio had less than 900 yards and 5 touchdowns. I could see him having a year like that if he stays healthy the whole year. Russell Gage only with under 300 yards and 5 touchdowns. Donovan Smith was our worst lineman by a mile with 15 sacks, but everyone else on the offensive line did amazing, especially the rookie left guard Luke Godecki, only allowing 2 sacks as a rookie left guard. Devin White led the team with 143 tackles. He had a very good year. I think he's pretty overrated in real life, but here he looks like he at least statistically, I guess he statistically does well in real life, but still. Akeem Hicks led the team in tackles for loss with 16, Vita Vea had 15, and Shaq Barrett had 11. And speaking of Shaquille Barrett, he had 15 sacks, which led the team. Vita Vea had 8, and nobody else really had that many. Akeem Hicks had 4.5. Where was Joe Tryon? Had only half a sack on the year. Anthony Nelson got substantially less snaps and had 3 times his sack production, technically. That's pretty disappointing. I was hoping it could be a breakout for us. Sean Murphy Bunting led the team with 5 interceptions, but not many outside of him. Devin White had 2. Let's check yearly awards. How did our players do? So Joe Burrow wins MVP. I don't think I've ever seen that. That's really cool. And Joe Mixon gets number 2. Apparently the Bengals were pretty good. Tom Brady comes in at number 3 in his final year. The Saints were 4-13. The Chiefs missed the playoffs even though they went 10-7. This was such a weird year. The Jaguars went 13-4. I recently messed with the Jaguars overalls, mostly lowering them, so apparently that had a big effect. I don't know why, but Jesus. Offensive Player of the Year does go to good old Tommy Boy in his final year. Marcus Mariota up there, interesting. Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz, Justin, that's disgusting. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Eric Armstead of the 49ers. Now that's a weird one. I do see him up here a lot. He really performs in this game, so that's super interesting. Shaq Barrett comes in at number 5, Devin White at number 9, Marcus Golden up there. This is a weird group, dude. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Justin Fields, Cade Otton all the way down at number 5. I thought he had a chance at winning that with 1,100 yards, but apparently not. We have Among Us St. Brown in there. Kelvin Joseph wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's a new one. No Bucks in there, unfortunately. So yeah, that was a pretty good year 1. It seems like it was kind of carried by Tom Brady, unfortunately, because this is his last year. We have some upgrades here. Chris Godwin, Luke Godecki, Shaq Barrett, some pretty important players. But let's see who we are taking on in the playoff. The 8-9 San Francisco 49ers. God, the NFC was terrible this year. What happened? I don't think they're going to be great, but I don't think they're going to be this bad, dude. Joe Tryon gets an upgrade. Okay. It doesn't really matter if we lose here, even though we definitely should win this game, because we have 3 more years after this, but let's see if we can take down the San Francisco 49ers. And we do, 28-14. But here we're taking on the 9-8, 81 overall Carolina Panthers in the conference championship. So we could actually make a Super Bowl here in the year 1 with Tom Brady, even though the point of this video is without Tom Brady. So I kind of hope we don't win a Super Bowl here, or else my title will be invalid. But let's see if we can take down the Panthers. Let's go straight to the Super Bowl. I kind of hope we don't win. Okay, we do not win. We should have won that technically, but I'm glad we didn't. Good Lord, that is an ugly Super Bowl. The Panthers versus the Jaguars. 2 new teams, 2 cat-themed teams, and 2 not great teams in real life. Yikes. That is a good old EA moment right there. And the Panthers do win 20-17 against Jacksonville. So at least we lost to the Super Bowl champions, and Baker does win a Super Bowl with the Panthers. So that's, I guess it sucks to be the Browns. I mean, it sucks to be the Browns anyways, like, yeah. In terms of re-signings, though, I think I'm just going to re-sign some of these younger depth players like Javelin Guidry, Blake Lynch, like some of them, just so I don't have to worry about those positions later. However, it is time for good old Tom Brady to hang him up. Retired once in real life already. Let's send him off. Let's make him a wide receiver to commemorate his drop in the Super Bowl. A deadly 12 overall. Now, who do I want to re-sign here? Julio is asking for almost $15 million a year at an 82 overall. I'm good. I don't think I'm gonna re-sign any of these players. I'm just gonna re-sign some depth pieces and go into free agency with hopefully a little money. Okay, here we are trading Donovan Smith and a 7th round pick next year, a late 7th round pick next year, for a 2nd rounder from the Steelers this year. The reason I did this is because he was easily our worst lineman, and it would save us $15 million to do that, and we're kind of strapped for cap right now. So this is not necessarily a no-brainer, but we're getting rid of our weak link on the offensive line, saving cap and getting a good pick out of it. Like I said, I want this rebuild to be fun. So we are trading our 2nd round pick, not the one we got from the Steelers, for Gardner Minshew from the Eagles. One of my favorite players in the NFL. As a Washington State Cougars fan, I'm excited to see how he does in this offense, because I've seen him win MVP before with the Bucs. In free agency, we are, of course, not going super hard because we are, of course, strapped for cash. However, we're making 2 decent moves. We're going for Cam Robinson. Actually, maybe we're not. I'm gonna save that money, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move Luke Godecki, who is more of a tackle, out to left tackle, because he's shown that he is stable in pass protection, only letting up 2 sacks as a guard, I should say. I don't know if that's gonna translate over to tackle, but I kind of want to try it, because it's easier to replace a guard than a tackle, especially a left tackle. So we're actually just gonna go after Mike Edwards. We're only offering him 1 year, $5.5 million, but I just wanted somebody there to fill that gap for now. And he doesn't sign in week 1, and he has 3 other offers, so I'm good. All right, so here in the draft, the Houston Texans have the #1 overall pick. Those are some interesting top 5 teams. I mean, I don't know if the Saints and Ravens should necessarily be in there, but you know, EA moment. But we have the number 30 pick, and what do I want to do here? So I think our first pick is going to be Bob Wynn here. He is 6'3", 315 pounds, only 23, well, I guess 23 is kind of old for a rookie, but 23 years old, out of Washington State. I didn't even notice that until now, but you know, he's a Cougar, so let's go. I love Cougars in multiple ways. Ran a 4.77 at the combine, 36 reps on the bench, so he is a freak, a play wreck, a block shed. Not great pass rush moves, definitely looks like more of a run defender, but let's take him, and he does have hidden. Okay, cool. I love the 79 speed and 88 strength. That is nice. By this point, you guys know my addiction to centers, so we're gonna go Quentin Sartin. That's a kind of hard name to say. He is 6'5", 311, so kind of a bigger center. 22 years old out of Penn State, 34 reps on the bench, not a great 40-yard dash, but he's a center, so I don't really care. But he has B awareness, A run block finesse, A pass block, A impact block. I think he'll be pretty good for sure. And he does have hidden dev, of course. Back-to-back players with 88 strength, of course not very fast, but again, he's a center, so I don't care. Here, I guess we're gonna go Brian Osborne. He doesn't look great, but he is relatively fast for a safety, running a 4.53 and strong with 21 reps on the bench. He has bad coverage, not great pursuit. I think the tackle's okay. There just really aren't any good safeties. There was one guy I had scouted that looked really good, but he got picked. So let's go Brian Osborne, and he has hidden. Okay. I didn't think he was good, but I'm guessing he's going to be like a 70-ish overall. That's pretty big. And here, I'm going to go Kevin McClellan. He is 6'3", 305, 22 years old, out of Ohio State. He ran a 5.13 at the combine, not great. 34 reps on the bench, though, so he is strong. He has good finesse moves, actually, which is weird for a player who is slow and strong, but hey, I won't question it. B pursuit, B impact block. Not good block shedding, but I don't know how much that's going to matter. I don't know what type of player he is. He kind of looks like a pass rusher with bad block shed, but I don't know, let's take him. And he unfortunately does have normal. I kind of expected that, but we really need D-line. We just need a lot of defense. We did lose a lot of players. And we're just gonna go with another safety for fun, to be honest. Josh Greenfield, he doesn't look great. 5'11", 212, so he is definitely a thicker safety. Pause. 22 years old, out of North Carolina. The reason I like him, though, is because he's fast. Ran a 4.42 4.2 at the combine and a 4.37 at his pro day. So I definitely think he is at least an athletic freak, but his stats, they don't reflect a good player necessarily. His best stats are awareness, pursuit, and hit power, which sounds nice, but they're all C's. So not a great player, but let's take him. And I guess his dev trait reflects that. Not a great player. So we had kind of an iffy draft. Quentin Sartin looks like he was our best player at a 73 overall, so that's definitely nice. We're going to be playing him at left guard, obviously. I don't know what his overall is going to be there, but he does look like a good player. Actually, I lied. Bob Wynn was our best player from the draft. I accidentally simmed through the draft recap because I'm stupid, but Bob Wynn has 88 strength, 76 awareness, 79 speed, so he's definitely an athletic freak, like I said. Not much pass rush, unfortunately, but you know, you can always develop. We'll see. There's a chance he could get one of those preseason breakout camp standout things. And then there were some players I took later, like Taquan Scandrick. I did take every pick of this draft. Max Simmons, Will Bartell, not great players. Kevin McClellan, surprisingly, is only a 65 overall. I thought he would be a good player. And Brian Osborne is only a 67. No coverage at all. Purely a box safety. Josh Greenfield definitely isn't a good player either. Adam Weber I thought would be more of a coverage player, but he is god-awful and actually has decent man. This was a weird draft. Okay, so I literally called it. Bob Wynn got the +3 power moves and +3 finesse moves. I just know this game too well at this point. Here is a look at the team going into year number 2 of the rebuild. Obviously with the actual GOAT, Gardner Minshew. He has decent stats. How is he only a 70 overall? Maybe it's the low throw power and awareness, but I mean, his other stats look good. What the hell? Either way though, I expect him to do pretty well here. I don't expect his overall to go up too much. I could see him getting up to like maybe a 76, 77 by the end of this, but I do think he will play very well. Clearly, the offensive line is pretty different now. Luke Godecki is going to play left tackle, Shaq Mason is moving to left guard, and Quentin Sartin is going to be playing right guard. The reason for that is left guards typically let up more sacks than right guards, and I trust Shaq Mason to let up less than if I played a rookie there, if that makes any sense. I was thinking about doing that with Tristan Wirfs, moving him to left tackle and moving Luke Godecki to right, but I don't know. I don't know how much I want to mess with it. Cade Otton is doing pretty well. The receivers, Chris Godwin went up to X Factor. I didn't even notice that until now. And we do have some pretty good depth at receiver. Looking at the defense here, I don't think there were any dev up, but our defense does have some holes. I think I'm going to start Kevin McClellan at defensive end just because he's younger than Rakeem Nunez-Roches. Or Roche. How do you say his last name? Is that Roche or Roche? I don't know how you say that part, but either way, we're going to start McClellan over him. Obviously, Bob Wynn. Is that his name, Bob Wynn? That sounds like the most 1930s white NFL player name ever, but you know what? 100 years late ain't too late, I guess. The corners, of course, looking great. Another hole is strong safety, but Brian Osborne could prove to be a decent player. We'll just have to see. This year, I'm not expecting to have great results. This is just more of a development year, just year number 2 out of 4. So we'll see if some players can turn into studs here. And let's see how we're doing at the midseason point. Alright, here at the midseason of year number 2, we have the exact same record at 5-2. Unfortunately, we do get absolutely shit on by the Broncos, but we are doing well, and the Falcons and Panthers are actually doing well this year. The Saints are doing terribly once again. I don't know what's wrong with the Saints in this game. Like, they're a pretty good team in real life. I don't know. But how is Gardner Minshew doing this year? Oh, he's doing very well. Almost 2,000 yards, 1,800 yards basically, 15 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. That's my boy. I don't know if I still have Gardner Minshew stan in my Instagram bio, but I need to put it back for real. Here we have some upgrades. Who is this going to be? Daniel McCoy and Brian Osborne. Okay, I was going to say those aren't important, but Brian Osborne is our starting safety, obviously, our starting strong safety, I should say. But we have some re-signings here. Let's see who these are. It's kind of more fun because these are going to be like the actual contracts that will be coming up. And maybe I shouldn't have said fun because good fucking god, dude. Tristan Wirfs, Mike Evans, Antoine Winfield, Shaq Mason, Gardner Minshew, Oh my god. And we only have like 70 mil to do it with. Oh, fuck. Let's see if Tristan Wirfs takes 7 years, 97 million. That's a big underpay, to be honest, but I will take it. Mike Evans, 4 years, 78. Do I want to do that much for an already kind of old receiver? I guess so. Okay, he takes that. Antoine Winfield, he shouldn't be too expensive. Let's offer him 7 years, 92 million. I want to have enough money for Gardner Minshew. Honestly, I kind of regret re-signing Mike Evans. I wish I waited on him, re-signed Shaq Mason, and went to re-sign Gardner Minshew. We'll see, I'll figure this out. Okay, so we do bring Gardner Minshew back on a 3-year, $25 million deal. And we do get Shaq Mason back. Okay, I guess I was worried for nothing. Let's see if we can get Tyler Johnson back. I can't, no, we definitely don't have enough money. That's kind of unfortunate, but I think we'll live. This is the weirdest franchise I have ever created. So first year, 5-2 at the midseason, make the playoffs, first round bye at only 11-6. Year number 2, 5-2 at the midseason, 11-6 to finish the year, first round bye at only 11-6, like I said. This is so weird, bro. In terms of stats, though, Gardner Minshew, 4,700 yards, 38 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Very comparable year to Tom Brady last year. Like I said, Gardner Minshew is the GOAT. Leonard Fournette had a bit of a down year. I might replace him. Under 1,000 yards, only 3.8 yards per carry, 9 touchdowns. 3.8 yards per carry isn't great. Chris Godwin had 1,354 yards with 11 touchdowns. Mike Evans, 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns. Russell Gage almost had 1,000 yards with 9 touchdowns. Cade Otton with a bit of a down year compared to his last year, but still a good year with 841 yards and 6 touchdowns. In terms of sacks, Luke Godecki let up 15 sacks, but honestly, that's how many... Oh god, I can't think of his name right now. Why can't I think of his name? That's how many our old left tackle let up, and Luke Godecki is like $12 million cheaper, so I'm fine with that. Shaq Mason, bit of a disappointing year at left tackle. I meant left guard, and I didn't mean to click out of it. I am stupid. Tristan Wirfs is a stud, only 5 sacks at right tackle. Quentin Sarton did not great. Right guards typically don't let up many sacks. Ryan Jensen did pretty well. Devin White actually led the team again with 120 tackles. And Brian Osborne looks like he had a decent rookie year with 106 tackles. Tackles for loss, wow. 20 from Vita Vea and 19 from the rookie Bob Wynn. I really can't speak right now. 10 from Shaq Barrett as well. And in terms of sacks, again, speaking of Shaq Barrett, 16 from him. Vita Vea had 8. Bob Wynn had 7. Joe Tryon had a better year than last year, but still not a good year with only 4 sacks as a starting edge, a full-time starting edge. Antoine Winfield led the team with 3 interceptions. Devin White and Jamel Dean each had 2. A number of players each had 1. What is Brian Osborne's dev trait, though? Ooh, he has an upgrade? Okay, nice. Wow, that's a lot of stats upgraded. Brian Osborne has Superstar? Oh shit. And his coverage is getting better. This was a really good pick. Did he gain Superstar? No, it looks like he just had it. Okay, that's huge. Well, that fills our strong safety void. And even our backup safety, Josh Greenfield, had a decent year. This team was surprisingly very good. MVP goes to Lamar Jackson again. Well, I don't mean again for this rebuild, but his second MVP of his career. Baker Mayfield's up to an 83. He's developing pretty well. Gardner Minshew comes in at number 6. He's not going to win Offensive Player of the Year, though, unfortunately. Comes in at number 3 behind Baker Mayfield and Christian McCaffrey. Desmond Ridder up there. It's cursed again, bro. We got, like, Carson Wentz, Justin. Like, this is just cursed. Defensive Player of the Year obviously goes to Aaron Donald, like usual. Shaq Barrett at number 3. Kevin King in there for the Giants. Ew. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to probably a quarterback for the Saints, Jerry Raymond. No Bucks, unfortunately. I don't really know if we had anyone that could have won that. Defensive Rookie of the Year, unfortunately, goes to Tony Hart of the Vikings. I'll have to see what he did because Bob Wynn was a stud. He had like 7 sacks, 19 tackles for loss. That's like almost Defensive Player of the Year number. Well, not quite, but still. But Brian Osborne is lower than I thought he would be too, only at number 5, but at least he was up there. And Josh Greenfield, our backup safety, came in at number 9. I don't know why I'm saying his name like Greenfield. Greenfield, why can't I say that? We do have quite a few upgrades here though. A couple starters like Sean Murphy-Bunting, Kevin McClellan. Ooh, actually 2 overall upgrade for Sean Murphy-Bunting. Pretty nice. But super quick before we get into the playoff game and who I reveal who we are going up against. If you for some reason have not already dropped a like and a sub, be sure to do so. I mean, you've made it pretty far into this video. Obviously, you've at least liked it a little bit, so be sure to help ya boy out. Drop a like, drop a sub. Again, 45 likes, 400 subs, and I will be very happy. But also, while I'm on the screen, Quentin Sartin does have Superstar, which is huge. We got so lucky in this draft with the dev traits. Gardner Minshew up to a 76 with morale. Bob Wynn, unfortunately, does only have star, though. But, I mean, 2 superstars with unlikely players to have it, you definitely take that. But we are going to be taking on the 10-7 Chicago Bears. Now, in my opinion, they have the worst roster in the NFL, other than maybe the Texans, but I think the Bears is slightly worse. Maybe not after they signed Riley Reef, but I mean, it's still really close. But here they are in 80 overall. We still have 6 overall on them though. So let's see if we can take down the Chicago Bears. And we get smoked. 30-13. I guess that's what I get for talking shit, huh? I swear to God, the Super Bowls keep getting more and more cursed. The Bears take down the Titans 30-24. What are these Super Bowls? These don't make any sense. These are like 2 of the lower teams in my rosters. At least by this point, the Titans are always super low, and the Bears base in my rosters are the lowest overall at like a 73, maybe a 74 now. But hey, at least again, we lose to the eventual Super Bowl champions, so I can't be too mad even though it is a bad team. I just don't know how to feel about that one, I'm not gonna lie. In free agency, I would like to bring back Tyler Johnson. I don't think he's gonna take this though. What does he want? Okay, let's see. He wants 4.02. I'll offer him that. Okay, so it's 14 over, I believe, 3 years, which is more than he originally wanted. I just kind of wanted him back because he's a good 4th receiver. All right, in free agency, we have negative money. I don't know how that works because we had positive money just a week ago. It's not like it's a new, well, it is a new league year, but that was the start of the new league year, like the re-signing period. So I can't really afford anyone here. I don't know if I necessarily even want anyone here. I don't want Aaron Rodgers. I don't want Tony, well, maybe I do want a running back. I don't think Tony Pollard does very well in this game though, so I think I'm kind of good on free agency again this year. Our team is already good enough. So here in the draft, the Texans have the number 1 overall pick, and the Lions have number 2 and 3. That is broken. They have back-to-back in the top 3. That is gross. But here we have the 28th pick, so let's see what we can do here. I think I'm gonna go Kyle Brown. He's 6'1", 310 pounds, only 21 years old, out of Cal. Ran a 4.79, which is only 3rd. I might need to look through these defensive tackles because apparently there's some freaks. 34 reps on the bench, has a lot of B's, play rec, power moves, pursuit, finesse moves, impact block. Very balanced player, looks like completely balanced with power, finesse, and run defense. This guy looks really good. He's gonna have normal. I lied, he has hidden. This guy looks amazing. 79 speed, 88 strength, which is the exact speed and strength profile of Bob Wynn. So this guy looks very good. Also another like 1930s white NFL player, Kyle Brown. Well, not necessarily the name Kyle, but, you know, white boy name, I guess. I don't know. I think we're gonna go with Frank Willis next. I have no idea what type of player he is, but he is 6 foot, 236, 21 years old, out of Clemson, obviously an outside linebacker. Ran a 4.76 at the combine, which isn't great at all, but he has really good strength, 28 reps on the bench. I definitely like that. But this is where I get confused. So he has B awareness, but then he has A man coverage, which is decent. So I'm like, maybe he's a cover linebacker. But then he has B power moves. So then I'm like, maybe he's a pass rusher. And then he has A tackle. So then I'm like, maybe he's just a run defending linebacker. My guess is gonna be he's more of a pass rushing guy, but at only 6 feet tall, that's kind of weird. 6 foot 236. I have no idea. No, my guess is gonna be he's more of a run defending type with okay pass rush and coverage. Let's take him. And he of course does have hidden. He has better strength than speed. That's interesting. We'll have to see what his ratings are after the draft because this game sucks and it doesn't show you the overall for some reason. I hate this game. That makes no sense. And you guessed it, we're going with another center. Anthony Springs is 6'4", 316, 22 years old, out of Georgia. Left-handed, just like me, for real. Is slow, but 33 reps on the bench is nice. A run block, bad run block finesse. Honestly, doesn't look like a very good player now that I look back at him. I thought he had more Bs, but let's take him anyways. Of course has normal, but I think he'll be like a 68 overall-ish. Could be okay. Okay, so Anthony Springs, I'm kind of proud about that. He is a 68 overall. I guessed that perfectly. It looks like the run block finesse was kind of an outlier stat because he's a good run blocker and he has good finesse. So it's just kind of random, I guess. That's really weird. He's good at everything else. Kyle Brown is a 75 overall. That's about what I expected. I thought he was going to be a little better, but definitely a good player. Definitely more of a power rusher than finesse. Decent run blocker, or run stopper. Not run blocker. Frank Willis is only a 71 overall. And yeah, I was right. He is more of an off-ball run defender with decent power moves. I had some good predictions from this draft. I'm getting to know this game a little too well, and he had god-awful coverage. I thought he would have okay coverage. The C-man coverage was only 51. Yikes. And he only has 40 zones, so I don't know what. I guess, oh no, we run a 3-4, never mind. He'll be fine at outside linebacker. The CPU drafted Kyle Young, a decent running back. He'll be like third string or something. And it drafted a decent tight end in Nate Whitworth, a good blocking tight end. So I guess in real life that would be a very good pick because, you know, this team definitely needs a blocking tight end. Here is a look at the team going into year number 3 of the rebuild. And honestly, this is a very, very good team. Obviously, the GOAT at quarterback, and I ain't talking about Tom Brady, I'm talking about Gardner Minshew, the mustached man himself. The absolute GOAT. But just this whole offense is crazy. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans hasn't changed at all from real life other than just development. Cade Otton has proven to be a very good tight end for us, even though his overall doesn't quite reflect that. He does have a decent overall though. The offensive line outside of the left side has been playing very well, especially Tristan Wirfs. And the defense, obviously, Brian Osborne? Yeah, Brian Osborne. Be proud of me, guys. I'm getting better at remembering these players' names. Brian Osborne has superstar dev, like we've been over, so that's absolutely huge. I don't know how I'm not starting Joe Tryon. I need him starting at linebacker. Funny enough, this Willis guy, what's his name? Frank Willis, that's what I thought. He's a better overall at defensive end, probably because his coverage is so bad. He goes up 2 overall there, but clearly not a scheme fit for us here in a 3-4, unless we want a 230-pound, essentially defensive tackle. And I don't think I do, believe it or not. Vita Vea did go up to Superstar X Factor, which is very cool. Let me know down below though. I actually don't know this. Is there a difference in XP gain between Superstars and Superstar X Factors, or is it only the abilities they can get, obviously? Like, do they get more XP if they are an X Factor, or is it the same as if they're a Superstar? Because I think they both get the same XP boost from having that dev trait, but I really don't know, so let me know down below, because I'm stupid, and I don't know enough about the game my whole YouTube channel is based around. But let's see how this team does in year number 3, second to last year, and I'll see you guys at the mid-season point. Okay, so we actually are slightly worse at the mid-season point of year number 3, being 4-3, obviously, and of course our division is super strong again this year, with the Saints actually winning it. This is kind of almost the opposite of how our division has been. But let's see what the problem is this year, because clearly this team is not playing as well as it should be, and unfortunately it does look like the problem is Gardner Minshew. With only 13 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, that's not great. Playoff Lenny is doing pretty well. The receivers are doing well. I'm guessing the reason that Minshew is doing not well is because of the line, and it definitely looks like it. Oh my god. Yeah, that's the problem. Luke Godecki is on pace for close to 30 sacks. Well, more like 22, 23. Yikes. Ryan Jensen is also doing very poorly. I might switch the offensive line around a bit. We'll see. Defense, still not a ton of pressure, but actually decent amount of pressure. I take that back. So yeah, it looks like the offensive line is definitely failing us. But I think I'm just going to ride it out this year and see if we can finish strong. Now, who do we have for re-signings, actually? So, Carlton Davis, Leonard Fournette, Levante okay, I definitely do want... Oh, God. Chris Godwin, Shaq Barrett, Devin White, Joe Tryon, who I probably won't re-sign, Ryan. This is a tough free agency class. Okay, thankfully we have a ton of money. So Carlton Davis, we're going to offer 5 years, $75 million, and he takes that. Cool. Leonard Fournette wants less than $5 million a year. Great, we bring him back. Levante David, I'm going to wait for him to regress and then re-sign him in free agency because he's going to want less money. Russell Gage, he's not a great overall. Hasn't performed super well. Already a bit older. I might look to free agency. Chris Godwin, I do want back. Shaq Barrett has arguably been our best player, so I definitely do want him back. Devin White, of course. So let's go into the next week and re-sign those players. Okay, so Chris Godwin will offer 4 years, $80 million, and he doesn't like it. The length is good, and that's it. Pause. Shaq Barrett, let's give him 3 years, $53, and he takes that. Okay, cool. Devin White, let's offer him 6 years, $75. That's a lot of money for a linebacker. Joe Tryon hasn't done really anything, so I don't think I'm going to re-sign him just yet. Ryan Jensen is having a down year, so I'm not going to re-sign him. It always sucks when your team starts regressing at this point, because then it kind of puts you in a tough spot, because you have to scramble to find already good players. It's better if the team is worse at first, because then guess what, if you have a bad player that plays bad, you can just replace them with a younger player that has upside and hope they play well. But if your good players start playing bad after playing well, it puts you in an awkward situation of, well, this player's good, I don't want to get rid of them after one down year. Like, I don't know, it's just a tough situation. Well, I am very glad I didn't make any changes to our team because we finished 13-4. Getting our third first round bye in 3 years, back to back to back. And we do have some upgrades here. I'm excited to see who these players are. So Quentin Sarton, Tristan Wirfs, pretty big offensive line players for us, but let's see how the team did. Gardner Minshew had a bit of a down year, but still a pretty good year. 5,000 yards, 32 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. Not bad necessarily. I wish he had less interceptions and more touchdowns, but hey, I mean, he's only a 74 overall and we only had to pay a second round pick for him, so I won't complain too much. Leonard Fournette had probably his best year with 1,100 yards and 17 touchdowns. It seems like we're leaning more into the run game now, which is interesting. I guess it makes sense, but you know, interesting. This is a really weird receiving year. So Chris Godwin got almost all the receiving touchdowns of our team. Over half of them, with 1,500, almost 1,600 yards and 17 touchdowns out of the 32 that Gardner Minshew threw. Cade Otton, even though he's a tight end, had 1,000 yards and only 3 touchdowns. Again, as a tight end, only had 3 touchdowns, compared to Chris Godwin's 17. Okay, Mike Evans had his very first under 1,000 yard season with just 4 yards short of 1,000 and 4 touchdowns. Also the lowest amount of touchdowns he's ever had, and Russell Gage with 5 yards under 1,000 with 5 touchdowns. That's weird. Mike Evans was 4 yards under 1,000 with 4 touchdowns. Russell Gage was 5 yards under 1,000 with 5 touchdowns. Interesting. This has been the weirdest rebuild ever. Luke Godecki let up 20 sacks. We desperately need a new left tackle. Ryan Jensen was bad as a center with letting up 9 sacks. Shaq Mason was bad at left guard, letting up 8 sacks. Quentin Sartin was not great, letting up 6 sacks. And Tristan Wirfs was amazing, letting up only 4 sacks as a right tackle. So now it looks like our only good lineman is Tristan Wirfs. Everyone else was mid or bad. Fun. In terms of defense, Devin White led the team with 129 tackles, Shaq Barrett had 16 tackles for loss, Vita Vea had 12, and Bob Wynn had 10, and Kyle Brown had 9. Tackles for loss, of course, again, is Shaq Barrett. He basically is our defense at this point with 13 sacks. Bob Wynn had 9.5. Levante David actually had 7. That's weird. Joe Tryon had his best year in a contract year with 6 sacks. However, it's not going to be enough to make me re-sign him. I'm still not gonna. Vita Vea with 5.5. Devin White with 5. So actually a really good amount of sack. Just like a gay bar. I don't know. There's some joke there. That was a lame one. 3 interceptions for Sean Murphy-Bunting led the team, and 1 from a large number of players, including Shaq Barrett and Joe Tryon. That's interesting. We were 3rd in offense and 12th in defense. And Nick Chubb actually wins MVP. Look at this top 4. Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, Saquon Barkley, and Christian McCaffrey. 4 running backs. The first quarterback is Patrick Mahomes at number 5. And then the rest is all... Whoa, DeMarcus Lawrence was up there? That is rare. What did he do? Hold on, I want to see that. Okay, yeah, that'll do it. 27 sacks, shattering the record by like 4.5. That's insane. 19 tackles for loss. I need to get him in one of my rebuild. I want to do the Cowboys next. I want to see if anyone suggests that. If anyone does, I'll definitely do that. That is absurd. Offensive Player of the Year, of course, goes to Christian McCaffrey. Actually, not of course, because I think Saquon was above him for MVP. Yeah, okay. Racism, I guess. Gardner Minshew came in at number 6. Jameis on the Seahawks at number 7. Ew. Jared Goff, Sam Howell. What a... Ugh. Defensive Player of the Year, obviously, DeMarcus Lawrence. Absurd year. That's unfair. Shaq Barrett at number 6. He's so good in this game, too. I kind of want to make a team out of the best performers in Madden. I think I might do that at some point. Trendon Farrow, that is a stupid ass name, wins Offensive Rookie of the Year for the Cowboys. I have no idea what his position is. Maybe he's like a running back, or no, he wouldn't be. Maybe he's a receiver. I don't know. That's an ugly name. Nate Whitworth, our backup tight end, comes in at number 5 for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Tyler Iglesias of the Lions. No Bucks, unfortunately. I don't know if we really have... No Bucks. What about, okay, I guess Kyle Brown didn't have a great year. Only 28 tackles, 9 tackles for loss is good, but only 2.5 sacks. Okay, I guess it's kind of fair that he wasn't up there, but I'm surprised. Typically, players that even do like next to nothing will make it. But let's see who we're taking on in the divisional, and it is the Washington Commanders, the Washington Communists at this point. We have a couple upgrades, some players that I took a couple years ago. Also, I didn't mention it, but I moved Josh Greenfield to corner because he's better there. So he's our number 4 corner, and it looks like he's doing pretty well. 63 zone, ew. But in year number 3, let's see if we can take down the Washington Commies. And that's what I get for talking shit about them. I'm gonna stop talking shit about teams in the playoffs at least, because we always lose to them. Last year it happened with the Bears. Like, I'm just gonna stop. I need to. Okay, so the Cowboys take down the Bengals 38-31 in a Super Bowl 59 it would be at this point. So it looks like DeMarcus Lawrence leads them to that with how good he was, and Zeke did well. He was up there for MVP, and I think Dak also was, and then they also won Offensive Rookie of the Year, so they had a lot of good players on that team. I'm not surprised they won the Super Bowl, but re-signing. This is where things get interesting. I'm not going to re-sign Levante David right here. However, we do need Chris Godwin back. Thank God we do have money. See what I did there? Chris Godwin, I'm super funny. And he does re-sign. Okay, cool. Joe Tryon, I'm not falling for his bait of having his best year in a contract year, go fuck yourself. Ryan Jensen, I'm not going to re-sign, but if there is not a better lineman in free agency, I will just re-sign him there. So with a ton of money, let's do some damage in free agency. So we're going to be spending nearly every single dollar we have left in free agency. I mean, why not? We're going into the final year. So the first player we're going to be going after is Austin Eckler. We're still going to be using Leonard Fournette, obviously, just more as a goal line back, I guess you would say. And Austin Eckler is going to be our running back 1 and our receiving back, obviously, because, I mean, that's what he is in real life. And he is a very good player and a fantasy legend. Trent Brown, I'm going to play at right tackle, and we're going to experiment with Tristan Wirfs at left tackle because obviously Luke Godecki did not work out there. He has been awful at left tackle. Tyler Boyd, I don't really know if we need him, but we're going to get him, or at least we're going to try to. We could look to draft a third receiver, but this will make probably the best receiving core I have ever had. I mean, nobody really watched me at the time, but there was like a year ago when I got DK Metcalf and Devontae Adams, both at like a 95 plus or whatever they were in a Seahawks rebuild. But, you know, this is really, really good too. Kenneth Murray is going to be our linebacker 2. I think he is, you know, he could end up being a good player. He's been pretty, has he been injured for the Chargers or what's been the thing? Because I haven't heard much about him. Obviously was a first round pick at one point. And then another former first-round pick who hasn't worked out, Javon Kinlaw, is going to be our second defensive tackle. He's not going to get much playing time, but I just wanted a good DT too. And he kind of looks a little bit like a fat Chief Keef. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but like... No, yeah, he definitely looks a lot like Chief Keef. Maybe it's just the hair, but like... I don't know, that's kind of weird. Okay, so we do actually get every single player. I would sure hope so, because we overpaid them so much, but that makes this roster absolutely disgusting. In keeping with the weirdness of this rebuild, look at those top teams. So the worst teams were the Chargers, Seahawks, Rams, Dolphins, Colts, and Cardinals. Those have all been some pretty good teams over the recent years. So that's a weird top 6. I really want to take all 3 of these centers right here. Like I said, I have an addiction, but they're always good. I mean, not always, but just take a quick look at them, and there's always going to be like a good one there unless they're all like UDFAs. I'm so conflicted because Cole Rhodes isn't a scheme fit and he's a year older than the other 2, but oh my god. 35 reps on the bench, which was first for centers. Just look at those stats though. A impact block, A pass block, A pass block power, A run block finesse, A run block power. The only B he has is pass block finesse. This dude is insane. Not as high of strength as I thought he would have at only 87, but of course does have a hidden dev. This guy looks absurd. This Danny Truman guy looks pretty good. I mean, I'm going away from my addiction to centers, obviously. This guy's a tackle for a change. I don't know if I've, like, ever drafted a tackle in a rebuild. Honestly, maybe not. I mean, you'll have to let me know if one of you remember, but, like, I don't think I've ever done it. He's pretty fast, not super strong, honestly, but I do like the speed. B awareness, overall just good blocking stats, especially with the pass block finesse as an A. So let's take him. Of course, he has hidden 75 speed as a lineman. That's really good. With only a 4, he only ran like a 4.91. How is that 75 speed? The combine grades in this game make no sense to me. Okay, so pretty uneventful draft, to be honest. I mean, Cole Rhodes is a really good player at a 77 overall, but that was expected. I mean, the dude looked like a freak. Obviously not a scheme fit, but still a very good player. Danny Truman, the other lineman, is a 70 overall. That's about what I expected. I thought he could have been like a 72, 73, but a little worse than I expected. And the last 2 players I took, Justin Henry didn't end up being any good, and Jalen Beal will be like our 5th corner or something. He looks like a decent player for sure. I just took him because he's 6'3" and had a good 40 time. He ran like a 4.42 or something. Does end up looking like a very good player. The CPU drafted Anton Peak. I was gonna say he's a deep threat, but he doesn't have good deep route. More of a slot guy, but he also, Yeah, I guess he's more of a slot guy. Yeah, at only 5'9", he's definitely a slot receiver. So, pretty decent draft, I guess? Okay, I really did not expect this to go through. We are trading Luke Godecki here, one of the worst players I have ever had in one of my rebuilds, for Teron Carr, a 24-year-old superstar development 80 overall speed rusher. I don't know how that went through, but we absolutely skamazed the Bills. Have fun with 20 sacks. Actually, no, probably now that we traded him, he'll do super well and he'll be like the best pass protecting lineman this year. This is probably the best team I have ever built. This is absolutely disgusting. So here's a look at the offense going into the fourth and final year. This line is crazy. It plays really poorly other than Tristan Wirfs, but hopefully we can change that this year. I mean, 2 of the players are new. One of them is switching positions. Like, it should play well this year. We'll just have to see. Our receiving core is disgusting. I mean, we're like 5 deep with players that could start, with Chris Godwin at a 98, Mike Evans at a 92, Tyler Boyd at an 87, Tyler Johnson at a 75, Jalen Darden at a 74. Like, that is gross. We have Austin Eckler and Leonard Fournette at running back. We have Gardner Minshew with a superstar dev trait now at quarterback. When did he get that? He got that in the staff week, probably for just having a good year, I guess. I don't think he won an award. And then here's a look at the defense. Obviously the safety we drafted with superstar dev. I'm surprised he hasn't developed too much yet, but I mean, he's developed 10 overall since we drafted him, but still not a superstar player necessarily, even though he does have superstar dev. Teron Carr, the player we just traded Luke Godecki for, is a very good looking pass rusher, obviously still very young, a good overall superstar dev, a perfect scheme fit. I love that. Hopefully he can finally be another good pass rusher next to Shaquille Barrett, who has been an absolute monster for us. Antoine Winfield is quietly like one of our best players at a 92 overall. Hasn't done anything insane in this rebuild, but he has 94 zone. He's become a really good player. Vita Vea, kind of the same deal. I mean, I guess he gets a lot of tackles for loss, but is a 95 overall with morale. This team overall is just disgusting. But of course, it's not about the overall necessarily. Well, I kind of think it is. I mean, you can't really control how well your team does in this game. You can only control the players you put on it. But let's see if we can put this team on paper into actual success. And I'll see you guys at the mid-season of the fourth and final year. And in typical Madden fashion, we're of course having our worst year with our best team yet at 3-4 at a 90 fucking overall, dude. I mean, we're 6 overall better than the Bengals here. Like, I really don't get how this game works sometimes. It really doesn't make any sense. It almost seems like the worse team you have, the better you do. Gardner Minshew's not the problem. He's having a good year. The running game is great, 4.5 yards per carry for Austin Eckler. Receiving is great. This tells me it's either the offensive line or the defense. Not the offensive line. Tristan Wirfs and Trent Brown. This is like the best tackle duo I have ever had. So it's the defense. We're getting 0 pressure. Shaq Barrett's having his worst year with only 2.5 sacks. Teron Carr is matching him. And we only have 4 interceptions on the year, 3 from Devin White. So is it too late for a defensive playbook change? Maybe this is a bad idea, but I'm gonna switch to the Baltimore Ravens playbook. Where are they? I hate how this is out of order. Like, when you search through this, what is this sorted by? It's not by team name, or maybe it is. Yeah, I guess it's by team name. Why not just go like if it's sorted by team name, like Rams, Ravens, well, that's still the Redskins. They would be football, so they should be up higher. What? This game confuses me, dude. If it's sorting by the actual team name, why doesn't it say, like, Seahawks here, or Steelers? Why does it say Pitt? But we're gonna switch to the Ravens playbook. They are the best performing 3-4 defense right now in terms of points allowed and yards and sacks and everything. So let's sim out the rest of the year and hopefully we can finish strong. Again, before I reveal how the team did, if you have made it this far already and for some reason you haven't liked and subscribed, literally why not? It takes you 2 seconds, it's absolutely free. I'm realizing this sounds a lot more aggressive than I intend, but like, help a brother out, you know what I'm saying? Be sure to drop a like, a sub, turn on notifications for my channel, because all those help me out a ton, and let me know what team to do next, because of course, if I pick your comment, which I probably will eventually if you comment something, I'll shout you out, I'll drop you a sub, and I'll tell everyone else to drop you a sub, so it's a win-win-win. But this team is a very good team, obviously. We're up to an 88 overall. I don't know how we're the same overall that we started with, even after development and morale boost. That really doesn't make any sense. But this is an absurd team. Not to mention, one of the rookies we drafted has superstar dev. That's kind of crazy. And then here's a quick look at the defense. I mean, just a ton of development. Osborne finally got into the 80s. Still only 25. A very good cover safety too, actually, now. And before we get into the playoffs, let's check out some of the stats. So Gardner Minshew had a very similar year to last year, with 5,100 yards, 34 touchdowns, 12 interceptions is kind of a lot, but that's a pretty good year. Austin Eckler did unfortunately have less than 1,000 yards. 100, where did that come from? But he did have 4.4 yards per carry and 15 touchdowns, just not many touches for him, obviously. We had 3 1,200-yard receivers. That is crazy. That has to be some kind of record. Chris Godwin with just 6 yards away from 1,300 with 13 touchdowns. Mike Evans with 1,250 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a really low amount, especially for him. And Tyler Boyd out of the slot with 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns. Cade Otton also had 841 yards with 6 touchdowns. In terms of blocking, the tackles kind of let us down a little bit. I mean, Tristan Wirfs had his worst year. That's really unfunny. Please don't unsubscribe. And Trent Brown wasn't very good as a right tackle. The interior was fine, though. In terms of defense, 3 players had over 100 tackles: Devin White, Kenneth Murray, and Brian Osborne. Tackles for loss, 4 players had over 10: Vita Vea with 18, Bob Wynn, Kyle Brown, and Devin White. And this is our worst sacks year, at least for, the number 1 player. Shaquille Barrett had his worst year with only 9.5 sacks. I say only, though, even though that is still a really good amount. Where does this put him, like, all time? I rarely check this. So he has 94.5 sacks. Wow, I don't think I've checked this once this year. Okay, that doesn't put him on the list, but given a couple more years, I could almost see him on this. That's kind of crazy. He's been an absolute monster for us. Teron Carr was a very good pickup too, with 8.5 sacks. Big upgrade from Joe Tryon. Vita Vea with 8 sacks. Bob Wynn still did well. I mean, we had a lot of players do pretty well here. And in terms of interceptions, Devin White led the team with 5. Brian Osborne had 4. Antoine Winfield had 3, and then 3 players each had 1. So it looks like it was a successful defensive playbook change. Actually, the yards weren't great. 21st in offense for points scored, 15th for points allowed, so we really didn't have a great year. Jonathan Taylor wins MVP. I'm not really going to look at the awards much, because we unfortunately did not make the playoffs, going 7-10. Let me just show you something stupid. So we at one point this year were like a 90 overall. I don't know why we went back down, because we still have players with morale and obviously progression, but like most of these teams are like 85, 82, 84, 83. The Lions are in 86, Jesus. 85, 86. Like, the only team that really comes close to us is, I guess, the Chiefs are 1 overall better, but we were better than them at one point this year when we were playing well. The Browns are close to us at an 87, but we were losing to teams that are like an 82, 83, 80. Like, obviously in real life weird stuff happens, but most of the time that's because of injuries or poor coaching or stuff like that. That doesn't really happen here. So I don't know, that's just really dumb. I won't complain too much, but goddamn, we should have done better than 7 and goddamn 10. But I don't know about you, I would consider this a successful rebuild with how absurd of a team we built, whether they played well or not. But of course, again, if you did enjoy today's video, be sure to drop a like, sub, turn on notifications. All those help me out a ton. Comment down below what team I should do next, because if/when I pick your comment, I'll give you a shout out. I'll sub to you, tell people to sub to you, all that good stuff. But thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys again in the next video. Goodbye. I wonder if there's more
hero.